about midnight right now. Yesterday I got a tooth pulled, and I've been mostly sitting around, drawing, playing games, and just passing the time. I'm about to go to bed soon, but I had the urge to do a reading, so I thought I would do one for whoever happens to click on this video. I think it's some kind of special day today, with the sun, equinox or something. I don't know. I do think that like the moon and the sun are really cool, but I'm not that kind of witch necessarily who instinctively knows. Sometimes I have a hard time keeping information in my head. That's why I have lots of books. Everyone around me always seems to know their birth chart right away. I have no idea of mine, but I did write it down in this little notebook so I can keep track of it. But I would even have to look up what all these symbols mean. I guess I'm more of a... I don't know what that means. Anyways, I'm done shuffling now. I'm just going to do a quick reading. The 3 card. First up is the Knight of Cups. Maybe in the past you might have had trouble coming forward with your feelings in a stern manner, or in really setting down hard boundaries about how you feel. That's usually what the Knight is about doing, is kind of a forward motion with ideas, and cups are very much about boundaries, I think. Really any card can be about boundaries, but in this case I can see how it would be hard to set a stance of authority for the way that you feel if your horse is upside down or you've fallen off of it. That could be really tough. Second card is the Page of Pentacles. So this would be the present day card. Maybe this is the problem of setting the boundaries has made it difficult for whoever. I know this applies to me, but it can be difficult to find your place in either your career or your workplace, or how you make money, if you're kind of sitting around with all these ideas and needs that you have that aren't being met, and you're not telling anybody about them. So if this is happening in your workplace, then you're unable to effectively do your job, which can affect how much money you have and can affect pretty much everything. If you're a waiter working at a restaurant or something, and you're just grumpy all the time because everyone treats you like crap, you're not going to make a lot of tips, because most people who go out to eat don't have the sort of the compassion to be able to say like, oh, they're having a bad day, that's why they gave me bad service, so I won't leave them a tip. People aren't trained to have that kind of compassion when they live under capitalism. So I think card that's sort of like the situation. The first card was the roots of the situation, and this card is the situation. And finally, we have, this is the Five of Wands, which is usually about conflict. There's just a bunch of people who are all fighting with sticks, trying to best each other. And I know that personally for me, I can very easily, I'm in a situation right now, and it kind of speaks to that, where you know, if you're in this group setting where your needs are not being met, and it's leading to these struggles that you have to go through, it can be really easy to just hold them inside, and then you kind of lash out and get in a fight, and it's not a great situation. And or that you feel like there's a situation where experiences that you have are about infrastructures in the place that you are, whether it's a job or an organization you volunteer at, or a group of friends even, or like an arts community, where there are definitive problems to the way that everything is put together, and you might feel like these things are not going to be fixed unless you fix them, or unless you, by letting your needs be known, you're kind of asking for and opening a conversation and dialogue with how to fix them. And the people who are in charge, or the rest of the people in the group, may not be too keen on changing anything because it works for them. And I think what these cards are saying is that sometimes that's just how it goes, is that unfortunately you have to find a new place to go, that maybe the place that you are is not worth it to you, or you're not on the same path. I drew a card earlier that is the Two of Pentacles, and it's interesting with the Two of Pentacles because a lot of times it is represented as a choice. It's like a balancing act. I think that this reading for me is a continuation from a previous reading I did, but if it applies to you too, then I'd love to hear from you, and I'm happy about that you get something out of it. But in the Two of Pentacles, you have this person who is sort of deciding what they're going to do, and there's this sort of trip happening in the background that they are not going on yet because they are still juggling this sort of decision. And that's usually how this card is portrayed. But I had sort of a realization, and this is probably not a new realization for anyone else, but for me, it's good enough that so in like around these two discs is this sort of infinity sign, or it's like a cycle, or it represents time. And when I look at this card now, I sort of see this character as this I guess like a time mage or something. They exist outside of the cycle. They have not chosen yet what to do, and exist in this liminal space outside of time, where time cannot accept them. And not where time cannot accept them, where time cannot affect them. And because they are outside of it, it means that it can't really affect them until they put themselves into the situation. So that's what this card means for me now, is not just a choice of which path to take, but also like this person is kind of depicted as juggling these two things, but what happens if you just drop both of them? Like, who cares? Like, if you're a juggler and you have a whole crowd in front of you, you're like, you're a circus performer on the side of the street juggling for tips and dollar bills that people throw into your case, and you have to keep these objects floating around you in the air or else your gig is up. But then if you drop everything, then you walk away, and does it matter? Like, is it this big problem? Like, all the people that are watching you will go on with their lives, and you'll go on with your life and find something else to do. But in the meantime, you don't have to keep up this sort of circus act to please other people. And I think that this is a 4-card spread, because these 3 cards represent sort of what happens when you enter the cycle. And you have trouble communicating, and you're not able to get the potential that you need, and you end up in a conflict. But if you can see the situation before it happens, and then remain detached from it, remain in that liminal space emotionally. I know that cutting off from other people isn't like a super healthy or great thing to do, but sometimes you have to protect yourself. And I think that's what this reading is saying. So, hope you enjoyed it, and see you later.